Welcome everybody, PinstripeChronicles. I'm Tats. I'm here with Rob Donald, and again from Upper Deck we have Lynn joining us. And the Yankees pulled out a win. It wasn't pretty, but it was a win. But what I thought was really fun about the game is you saw a lot more aggression on the bases. Bunting run is over. A lot more small ball used in yesterday's game. Rizzo was just. I thought he was the star of the game with his defense. The steal, the slide at home plate where he was able to keep his leg down. It was just a very Rizzo just had almost a perfect game. Getting on base, hitting a home run to get them to go ahead, and seeing small ball used again. Does that lift the spirits of the fan saying, all right, this team could figure something out to separate themselves from the pack?
Maybe a certain fan base, only a certain group are going to really go crazy for a couple of bunts. I mean, let's be honest, you're not going to score a ton of runs by bunting. Gleyber Torres should not be bunting. He should be hitting line drives into the gap or getting a few over the wall. So if anyone should be bunting, it's like Higgy or IKF because he's got that speed. So, I mean, I'll use it in times when you need it, but if they're looking for bunts to get the offense going, then that's not a great sign. But it's good to see them try something different. Just to try, when you're struggling, do something.
Well, that's what I liked about it is they went outside their comfort zone to manufacture a run, not just wait to hit the long ball. You know what I mean? And that's something that we've been screaming about for a long time. Stop waiting for the home run. Move runners around. Figure out a way to get runners across. And last night they actually did that, and it's that should be always be taken as a good thing that they're able to adjust to the way adjust to the weather because the wind. It was still another cold night in Detroit. The ball wasn't flying except for Rizzo. The ball wasn't really flying, far into the outfield. They weren't really able to elevate. And so they're like, all right, if we're not gonna have the advantage of the long ball, let's let's just do something different. And it worked for them. And that has to be a plus. Lynn, what was your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I is that feedback? Sorry about that. I don't get the bunt epidemic lately. So I'm
epidemic.
It just seems like, last season I could probably count on one hand the time we've seen we saw a bunt, and yeah, I'm calling it a mini epidemic right now. Everyone's throwing down that bunt. And to your point, to what end, and that speaks to our, our RISP, so Gleyber got on, but to what effect? And yeah, he's lucky because he doesn't have the speed. I don't know how he made it to first because that was a lousy bunt. I happen to be team small ball, because, and I was actually really relieved, and it caused a little bit of stir on Twitter because I had the nerve to say that I'd like to see Gallo sit again today, because he has had zero productivity, and respect to him that he acknowledged it yesterday, that he understood why he was sitting because he's not been contributing. And I hope that he works it out. I trust that he's trying to work it out, but he's also said that he's all about the power, and that's all he's ever going to be. And that's fine if it's going to have results. And it's been inconsistent at best. Even last year, we didn't get what we were excited to get from him last year, and we're getting zip from him so far this year, other than being, an okay, outfielder. So I'm just disappointed in, and Stanton, really talk about cold in Detroit. His bat just wasn't with it last night. So to me, that was a wasted outing for Stanton. And IKF, I think we need to start giving him a little bit more credit than the slander he's been getting.
Yeah.
Because he is getting on those bases, and when he's on those bases, he's stealing and actually getting home sometimes. So I would like to see the small ball continuing. If it's consistent and it's done well, I think it'll prove to be even better than these power hits and hoping for going over the wall.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that if it's done strategically in the game, and it's not, you don't want to do that, in the ninth inning of a tie game. You want to just try to get it over with, not to avoid having, the man for an extras. And that's what I liked about it, especially like with Torres bunting. I know a lot of people were up in arms about it. But what I appreciated was, look, he notices he's not swinging the bat well. So let me at least, do something rather than just standing there with a bat in his hand. He was moving the runners around. The ball wasn't played perfectly. He was able to reach first base. So at least he's it's the conscious effort to want to contribute to the game. I think that's, it may be just a small thing, but I can appreciate wanting to take any step necessary to help the team win. Whether it's, I don't care if it's, like we saw Rizzo bunting down. Nobody had an issue with that. And he's a power hitter, and, when he bunted a couple days ago.
There's a difference, though.
How?
He was bunting against the shift. Gleyber Torres is just bunting. Like, there's a big difference, though, because there's nobody on the left side of the infield. So, yeah, drop the bunt. There's no one there. You look at, remember Cano did it like, 10 years ago in Boston? There was nobody there. He got a double out of it. That's when you drop the bunt and they're not expecting it. But I see your point. I'm just saying there's two different scenarios there, what Torres did last night and what Rizzo did against
Good point.
shift.
That's fair. Donald, your thoughts?
They definitely need to get better at creating runs. Run creation is a huge problem. Here's some statistics for you. Prior to Wednesday, the Yankees are 26th in baseball and offense, 22nd in slugging percentage, 349, which should be like a utility infielder's number. They are way below the Athletics, who don't have a team right now, and their fans are protesting, and they're below the Pirates, who are perennially not interested in competing. So there's some stats for you. So they definitely have an issue here where they need more contact and they need fewer strikeouts. They need guys that can make contact and get on base and start driving in runs and better run creation. No, there's a lot of things that's wrong with this lineup. I mean, the Donaldson and Gallo I view as basically the same player in many ways. They're very much strikeout guys that have power, and very much analytics guys they do, because you look at their hard hit percentage and barrel percentage and all those advanced stats that they look like they're better than actually what they are. But in reality, Donaldson's quite a polarizing figure, because let's not forget the Twins were desperate to get rid of his contract. They recently signed his $100 million contract and they couldn't wait to get rid of it. And the Yankees walked right in that trap. So he is a polarizing figure around the league. Some people love him. A lot of people don't like him. I never agreed with acquiring him. I think it was a big mistake. And so far, that's living up to that way. Joey Gallo was batting 120 this year. It was 150 last year. Joey Gallo, it's quite clear that he can't handle New York. It's just got in his head. According to John Heyman, the Yankees did negotiate with the Padres to try and get him traded in the offseason. But they weren't getting any kind of return for him, which is kind of scary. So the Yankees are obviously riding out with him, hoping to get better productivity from Joey Gallo. But there's a huge issue with Joey Gallo right now. So, yeah, if you just look it up and down the order, Kiner Falefa would be good in a scenario where the Yankees had 7 or 8 really strong hitters. And if you just had him at the bottom of the order, just giving you base hits and solid defense and a bit of speed, and then you're delighted. But if you've got a scenario where you got a a defense-only catcher, and all these issues that I've already mentioned where Donaldson's struggling. Joey Gallo can't handle New York. He's struggling, doesn't make contact. And then suddenly it clearly shows that there's a problem at the bottom of the order. So Falef is actually doing his job. If you look at his numbers recently, he's getting on base and he's making contact. So
No, I think
it's just that there's not a lot happening offensively around him. So you're sort of needing more. But that's not his responsibility. It's really on the middle of the order guys.
Yeah, it seems like Falef is really starting to come into his own with this team. That it almost like once he got away, once the series got away from New York and they got, you saw that he was a little more comfortable at the plate. And it's almost like he went back to playing the type of baseball that got him where he is and not trying to keep up with some of the bigger names that are on that roster. And you're starting to see the payoff for that. Falef, I think, is going to be just fine. Like we said, it's going to take a little while for him to acclimate to New York. And I think that's exactly what we're seeing on the road right now. And you just have to cross your fingers that it carries over when they go back to the Bronx. You can't have, the home field jitters. He's just got to keep grinding out the way that he's been playing while they've been on the road, especially the series in Detroit that we have.
But how would you account for the fact that they're 26th in offense and behind the A's and the Padres? I mean, the Pirates.
When you keep forcing that when you have no rhythm in the lineup, you're forcing, Torres and Gallo, who are negatives right now. You keep forcing them into the lineup, so those are 2 automatic outs. So now you now you only have 7 hitters in the lineup. Donaldson's been struggling. Now that's another batter out of the lineup.
Catcher, nobody hits. 5.
And don't
so and you go down the line, you can see that it's just been there's too many holes in the lineup, and the ones that are contributing are kind of getting lost in the mix. They kind of they're all getting grouped together as a bad offense when it's just 2-3 players that aren't pulling their weight. That does bring the whole lineup down with them, but that's not fair to the contributors.
John Heyman's got a New York Post article saying Donaldson is a former MVP with an injury history and a polarizing reputation. Twins wanted to cut bait soon after signing his $104 million contract. Torres once looked like a budding superstar, but now appears plagued by slow legs and even slower bat. He's going backwards faster than Gary Sanchez ever did. That's actually true. Gallo is yet another big talent who doesn't fit New York right now. The Yankees talent talk to the Padres about trade. They're believed to have been seeking a return befitting his ability, not his recent achievements. Ultimately, a trade may work best for him. According to a scout, New York is a challenge for him. It gets in his dome, a scout says. The Yankees are all about analytics, not personalities, and nobody looks better on paper than Gallo, but he is hitting 121. And Gallo's OPS is 377, Torres is 491, and Donaldson is 538. So apparently he says that the Yankees did call on Corey Seager. They weren't really in on Correa. They weren't interested in Baez at all. And they did show a little bit of interest in Semien. The front office desperately wanted Freddie Freeman, but Cashman passed. So the Yankees went on instead for the little things. And so far, their lineup reflects that. And they're doing very little at all. Which is a really... Yeah, for once, John Heyman's actually got something which is completely accurate. But it's a little bit interesting that the Yankees front office was really into Freddie Freeman, but Brian Cashman wasn't.
Is it... When do we stop dwelling on this all season? Like, when's the time to just say, all right, this is the team we got. Let's just see what we, and just work with it. Rather than just keep going back and how many times are we going to keep bringing up Correa and Freeman and all these moves that they should have made? It's all in the past. There's nothing we could do about it now.
You're right, man.
Bringing it up. The Yankees come off a win last night, and it's like doom and gloom still. That's the mentality. Is it that beaten down? Are we that broken?
Yeah, I am. I absolutely am. Don't know about for the rest of you, but I certainly am.
I'm not upset about a win. The only thing that I didn't like was, Glaber getting this praise for dropping a really bad bunt, like Lynn said. Like, if you rewatch it, we got very lucky that LoCastro wasn't out at second because they made an error. That's my only issue. Is you can't create offense by a bad bunt. Like, it worked for us because the defense was bad. I'm glad we won. I want to talk about Severino because he's looked phenomenal, and the bullpen once again has looked good. But I'm not doom and gloom. I've been more positive than a lot of people about this team at the early start of the season. So I'm taking a win any way I can get it. My only issue is with, Glaber should not have been dropping a bunt there. That's my only issue. That position of the game, it wasn't a good bunt. That's the only thing. It just looked ugly, and we got lucky.
I mean, Higgy had a perfect bunt. His bunt just really went right down.
Yeah, there's a difference.
We're discussing bunts. This is so embarrassing.
Well, because there's a bunt epidemic. No, but and to be fair, even the win the first game, was because of the Tigers' defense. It was a sloppy game, and we capitalized on it. And I think that's the frustration also. And it ties into the frustration from the Orioles series. These were two teams that were supposed to be gimmies, and they've been far from gimmies. And if we're not going to win the gimmies, then we have yet to face the Rays, who I know aren't really being very Ray-like right now. But, then how are we going to move up the line if this is how we're going to perform against the underperforming? And Donald's reading out some numbers that are showing that. And I also don't want to forget about Judge, because have we risen yet for him? Where's that home run? This was the first contact I've seen for him for a while last night. With that,
no, he has one. He's got one home run, and he has 3 RBIs right now.
I must have been napping, because to me,
I don't blame you.
To me, he's certainly not someone auditioning for the end of the season right now. And that bluff of his that he laid down, if he keeps this up, he's going to be sorry. He's certainly not Judge so far to me this season at all. So we talk about the new guys, but let's talk about our clutches.
Yeah, the way Judge is playing right now, that contract that Cashman offered is overpaying.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I mean, he's been better than a lot of our other guys, though. Even a mediocre Judge is one of our better hitters right now. So are we really complaining about Aaron Judge? The guy had a frozen.
I'm not complaining about Aaron Judge.
Pun intended.
Have a little fun with it.
But you just kind of made my point, Rob, though. Relatively speaking, yeah, but look at the relative.
We're 12 games into the season, though. Like, if we're going to talk about his contract, the mediocre Judge 12 games in, like, yeah, give me that over what we're getting from Gallo and Donaldson and even Rizzo, because Rizzo came into the game hitting like 200.
Yeah,
so
all we could do right now is talk about the small sample size we have. And I don't think it's fair to project, but, we're talking about the current, and, I just expect more from Judge. I think we all do.
Yeah.
And so I'm pleased with DJ. It's great to see healthy DJ.
Yeah.
And Stanton, they're going to continue to rest often. And seeing good things other than last night from Stanton. So that kind of puts Judge as the sore thumb among the ones that we're really used to. And 12 games in, I get it. But also 12 games in then for Glaber and Donaldson and the rest, and Gallo.
But they've looked lost. Like, those guys have been lost. Yeah. Like, at least Judge last night hit that frozen rope double, pun intended, because it was frozen in Detroit. But, like, he's been getting some hits here and there. Gallo has literally done nothing.
Totally lost, and they need to make a new compass for sure. But that could also change. But
Judge is the least of my concerns right now. We know what he's going to do. He's going to have a week.
Least of my concerns as well. I'm not even talking about Aaron Judge. I don't even talk about. He's going to come around.
But my point was, that the face of the Yankees, first 12 games, not so much. That was my only point. I know that that won't continue, but in fairness, if we're talking about the lineup as a whole, and the holes within that, then, it is something to flag to me.
No,
On a positive note, Rizzo is the one guy that's really just been consistent every
I was
year.
going to say, before we get to the pitching, I wanted to point out that Rizzo is the one with the most home runs and the most RBIs on the team right now.
Right.
So he may not have the batting average, but he's making his at bats. When he can, he's making them count. And he's had his home runs, RBIs have either been to kick off the scoring, or get us off, get late in the game where he's getting, the RBI or the home run, like we saw last night. So Rizzo, I'm not worried about. I think the main three is probably Donaldson, Gallo, and Torres. Those three need to get going if this whole lineup's going to start to fit together. But the one thing that really is fitting together is that bullpen and the pitching staff. I mean, Sevy, like Rob started bringing up before, he didn't have his best strikeout stuff, but he put a good game together. He was able, he put a lot of trust in his defense. He was placing the ball well where they couldn't really do any damage with him. He had a lot of full counts though. That was the one thing. His pitch count got up there really quick. But if you're able to avoid the damage, I guess, that's one thing you can overlook, especially with the bullpen we've had. What was your take on Severino's outing, Rob?
Well, first 2.5 innings even, his pitch count was beautiful. He was getting through it with 30 pitches, and I was like, he's gonna go 7. And then in the 4th, his pitch count just went up, and I was like, okay, give me 5, and he can hopefully get the win. And then obviously we didn't get the win from him. But look, if this is what we're getting from Sevy on a not so good night, then we gotta be praising the dude, because so far so good, and it's good to see, because we've been talking about it. We need him healthy, and we need him to throw more pitches each and every start. The strikeouts will come.
Yeah,
he'll lower that pitch count. He'll go deeper into games as the season goes on, as the weather gets warmer. He didn't have any issues with the cold, unlike our ace. So he's been really good so far. I'm happy to see it. And hopefully Monty follows up tonight, and hopefully we could score some damn runs for the guy, because he's been getting the DeGrom treatment from us for the last year and a half. So let's give some credit to that pitching staff, because if it wasn't for them, we really would be doom and gloom, because we're probably 0-12 right now without it.
We haven't had that killer game yet where it's, where the bullpen can get a night off. They've had to stay on point since the start. Green gave up the runs yesterday, but Green gets a pass. Those were the first time that Green had an earned run since September. So he's been almost unhittable. So they got to him last night, on a cold night, and I think with that, that was the weather. I think that's legitimate, not like the other guy that wants to use it as an excuse, or try not to use it as an excuse. But I'm set. Like I said, Green gets the pass on that. Sevy, they were just really fighting off some, they were nibbling the zone a little bit on him, and he ended up with a lot of full counts, which really, that's what drove his pitch count up. It wasn't that he was ineffective. He just didn't have that swing and miss pitch last night. But if you're still able to only put up one run, one power to you on that, because that means you were still able to adjust your pitches to have the defense help you out.
Tats, what is that tattoo on that arm? Is that like a snowman?
Yeah,
or
that's my evil snowman.
Your evil snowman.
Yeah.
What's the significance of it?
No, I don't know. Christmas makes me cranky.
You should have had a Grinch on the other arm then.
No, my wife has the Grinch tattoo.
Match made in heaven.
Yeah.
You're an onion, Tats. Every layer that I peel from you, I learn something more.
Yeah.
An evil snowman where
He's a regular
Christmas
Shrek,
makes you
this guy.
cranky. Jesus.
Well, we need a tavern and several pitchers of beer to get to the core of that onion someday.
I just know that I'm staying away from you at Christmas. That's all.
Yeah, your
He'll
favorite
wind up in the
movie,
septic
Nightmare
tank.
Before Christmas, or what?
What happened?
Is your favorite Christmas movie The Nightmare Before Christmas, or the one where the donkey dies, or what?
Well, if you really need to know what my favorite Christmas movie is, it's actually White Christmas. But that's for discussion.
Well, I was talking cartoons. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
cartoons?
Boy, have we got.
There's so many. Yeah, I don't know. That's hard to pick.
It would be Nightmare Before Christmas because he's bald, right? That's what you were alluding to? His
I
big
didn't
bald
know
head?
it.
Oh, so you call me Jack Skellington now. Nice.
I was wondering what the design was. I thought you were maybe Popeye or like
What?
or an angry snowman. I was trying to work out the design from here. That's all. You do resemble Popeye,
Thank you. I guess.
just without the muscle.
Just and the pipe.
And you have both eyes.
Yep.
We have an idea for the Halloween episode of Pinstripe Chronicles.
An angry snowman or Popeye.
So
Actually, book it. Let's.
yeah, right. Yeah,
I mean, prior to us recording, we were all discussing our thoughts on the Titanic. Tats really does not like that movie, like passionately.
No, I don't.
But he doesn't like Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yes. Yes.
How
was
can you
very-
like Leo? Leo is cool as Fook. He is awesome. Leo is a baller.
Why? Because he was bad on growing pains at age 12, Tats? He didn't get over that?
I forgot he was in that.
Yeah, he was the cousin that wasn't necessary to write in.
Yeah. Again, a waste of time, a waste of space.
He went to half of Cousin
Come
Oliver.
on, Wolf of Wall Street is one of the best movies of all time.
Oh, that was too long. See, that's my issue with Leo movies. They're all like 3 hours minimum, and I just can't sit through it.
So
you can-
good. And then,
you can-
and then
you can
Once Upon a
shave off
Time
like an hour.
in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood's awesome.
Another movie that's too long. Like you could shave off like an hour and a half of his movies, and you wouldn't miss really any plot points. Like
No.
Titanic. Like, do you really need to see him in the car or the guy's kicking the iceberg around the ship? Oh, it hit over there. The movie's too long.
Well, the Titanic's too long. I mean, that's just a bad movie. That's just 4 hours of
Torture.
love. Really did not need to happen.
Like 30 minutes of action of people hitting propellers and sliding off.
That was the only good part of the movie.
Probably Tats.
Was Celine Dion in it, or was it just her awful
It was just
singing?
a song.
No, she
Oh,
wasn't
okay.
in the movie, thank God.
Oh, yeah, because I was just thinking of the video of her just standing at the end of the Titanic. I just hope that she jumped.
God. Morbid on this Thursday morning.
It's just been one of those weeks, I guess.
I blame it on Tats.
I can't
Oh,
wait
sure,
for this-
blame me.
I blame you. I blame you. You started it. You brought up the Titanic conversation.
You brought up the angry snowman, Don.
Well, I was just trying to work it out. I was like,
You're the
oh,
one that
this
took.
is
You're the one that
our
took the whole
tattoo.
topic.
It all points to Donald. He did it. It's his fault. Let's get back to baseball,
You
shall
know
we?
who's going to be
Oh, do we have to?
You know who's gonna be an angry snowman tonight is Miguel Cabrera if he doesn't hit his 3,000.
No,
That was-
actually,
That way, we don't even have to talk about it.
no. I'm actually really. I'm hoping he gets it. I really do. I said it when Lynn, when you and I had our episode. You know, I wanted him to break the record. This week. One, because with them playing the Yankees, it's easier to watch the games. But I think going in and only having one hit to need, we have seen that players sometimes when it's just that one more for that milestone. Sometimes that's the hardest one. That's just as hard as getting your first hit. So it wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't get it tonight, but I really want him to get it. If there's one opposing player that you really root for to add one more notch to his career, I think Miguel Cabrera is that player because he was so good to the game for so long. You want him to go out with just this one last milestone.
I'm rooting for him too. I think it'd be awesome.
You actually agree with me? Holy shit!
All right, angry snowman, calm down.
It's a
Popeye.
miracle.
Calm down, Popeye.
Jack the
Popeye the
Skeleton.
Sailor Man. No, I'm really excited for Cabrera. I really hope he gets it too. And I also love what he said yesterday, where he's just like, "Who gives a bleep about how many hits I got? We lost. When has this game ever been about personal achievement? It's a team game. That's the kind of guy you want on your team. You know, he's a real gamer. He's a team guy. So yeah, I'm rooting for him, man. Great.
Yeah, and just selfishly for me, I want to see it in the late innings with the Yankees having the lead, because I just think it's going to amp up the whole stadium, up the energy 5,000 times, and you might actually see some other offense come alive after it. So, I'm all good with it. Bottom of the ninth, with us at least 3 runs above them. I'm with it too. He deserves it. He's got to get it. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, in my opinion. And and by the way, we're all disagreeing with the majority of the fan base, from what I've seen on Twitter, who don't want it against the Yankees, which is
what? Really?
seeing a lot of that. So
why?
Yeah,
I guess because it's the Tigers, and
we can't make. The thing is, we can't make our own history anymore. Might as well enjoy somebody else's.
100%.
Yeah, more than fair.
So
Absolutely.
the are in a proud minority from what I've been seeing on Twitter.
That's good.
Well, I'll stay on this island by myself, by ourselves. I don't care.
On that hill. Yep. Just don't throw me in the water and let me drown. But I'll die on the hill.
Bobby Tats might. So
I know.
don't say that around Tats. He might let you go down there.
Just don't say you like the movie Titanic.
As he presses his palm on my head, I'll never let you go. Makes for a better ending.
Oh crap! All right, so I think this is where we're just going to leave the show. Just remember Mike Sheck comment.
Can I just ask, what inspired you
go
to have the
ahead.
angry snowman? What inspired you to have the angry snowman? Was it like a spur of the
It
moment
actually
thing,
it was my tattoo artist was doing a holiday charity, where he had a little card of all different Christmas tattoos, that he kind of made just kind of a little more edgy. And all the money from the tattoos that he got off of this card all went to children's toys. So I chose the snowman.
You see, now I'm glad I brought it up.
Yeah.
So
you wouldn't know about charitable tats.
But
I apologize for calling you Popeye. That's awesome.
Just to be clear, it doesn't absolve you of us making fun of it forever.
No. It's, believe me,
he is Jack the Skeleton. There's a happy ending. He's Jack the Skeleton. He's got the angry snowman. It's a happy ending.
That's really cool, Tats. That really is.
Yeah.
Good on you.
So just remember, like, share, comment, and subscribe. And maybe I'll break down some more tattoos another day.
Please do.
I got plenty to talk about.
It's okay.
Just know, check us out at sportname.com/player. Northeast Streaming Sports on Roku. And we will see you tomorrow. Wear your pinstripes of pride and play hard.